There is a version of your life that you keep meaning to get to, and somehow another year passed and you are still meaning to. That is not a small thing, and I do not want to rush past it like it is, because there is a particular kind of pain that comes not from a dramatic crisis, but from the slow, quiet accumulation of unlived days. Days that were full of activity, but somehow empty of direction. Days where you were busy from morning to night, and yet, when you lay down in the dark, could not quite name what any of it was actually for. That feeling, that low hum of drifting, while appearing to function, is one of the most disorienting things a woman can carry. Because it does not look like a problem from the outside. You show up, you manage, you keep going. But on the inside, something in you knows that keeping going is not the same as actually moving forward. Maybe you felt it at the start of this year. That moment when you looked at your life and realized that it looked almost identical to where you were 12 months ago. Not because nothing happened, a lot happened, but because none of what happened was something you chose with intention. It just came at you, and you responded, and then it was December again. Maybe you feel it every Sunday evening, that specific ache that settles in when the week is about to start again and you already know how it is going to go. The same rhythms, the same distractions, the same good intentions that will dissolve by Tuesday. The same version of yourself, showing up to the same life, wondering somewhere underneath it all, whether this is really what God had in mind when He made you. I want to talk about that today. Not with a harsh correction, not with a productivity system or a 5-step morning routine, but with honesty, with care, and with what I believe the Bible actually says about the kind of woman God is calling you to become. Because I do not think God wants you to drift. And I think, if you are honest with yourself, you already know that. Let me tell you about a woman named Camille. Camille was 34 years old. From the outside, her life looked like it was moving. She had a stable job, a small apartment she had lived in for 6 years, a church she attended most Sundays, a group chat with friends she loved but rarely saw in person anymore. She was a good person, thoughtful, caring, the kind of woman who remembered birthdays and checked in on people and always showed up when someone needed her. But if you asked Camille what she was building, what she was moving toward, what her days were actually organized around, she would not have a clear answer. Not because she was not intelligent, not because she did not have dreams, but because somewhere in the middle of her 20s, she had gotten into the habit of letting life set the agenda, of responding instead of initiating, of waiting for clarity before she moved, and then waiting so long that the waiting became its own way of living. She had a journal she bought at the beginning of every year with the best of intentions. She would write a few entries in January, sometimes into February, and then life would pick up pace, and the journal would end up in a drawer somewhere, and she would find it 11 months later, with mostly blank pages, and feel a small, familiar sting of disappointment in herself. She told herself she was just not a structured person, that some people are naturally disciplined, and she was not one of them, that God made her more spontaneous, more fluid, more go with the flow. And there was a version of that which was true. But there was another version, the version she did not say out loud, that was less about personality and more about fear. Fear of committing to a direction and getting it wrong. Fear of wanting something specific and not receiving it. Fear that if she tried and failed, it would mean something terrible about who she was or what God thought of her. And so she stayed fluid. She stayed available to whatever came. She stayed in the comfortable middle ground where nothing was really her fault because nothing was really her choice. And the years kept moving. One evening, Camille was on the phone with her older sister. They were just talking, the way sisters do, about nothing in particular and everything at the same time. And her sister asked her a question that was not meant to be heavy, but landed with the weight of something she had been avoiding for a long time. She said, "Cam, what are you actually working toward right now?" And Camille opened her mouth to answer, and nothing came. Not because she was ashamed, just because she genuinely did not know, and the not knowing, sitting there in the silence of that phone call, felt like something she could no longer quietly ignore. She did not fix everything that night. She did not wake up the next morning with a 5-year plan and a color-coded calendar. But something shifted in her. A small, honest reckoning with the distance between the woman she was and the woman she had always, somewhere quietly, wanted to become. And she began to wonder, for the first time in a long time, if the drift was something she could actually choose to stop. Maybe you have had a version of that moment. Or maybe you are in it right now. Maybe someone asked you a simple question, and you felt the floor shift a little beneath you, because the honest answer was, I do not know. I have not thought about it. I have been too busy surviving the week to think about what the weeks are actually adding up to. That is not failure, but it is worth paying attention to. This is where I want us to go to Ephesians 5, because there is a verse in there that I think speaks directly to what we are talking about, and I want to read it slowly and let it breathe. Paul writes this, "Be very careful then how you live, not as unwise but as wise, making the most of every opportunity, because the days are evil. Be very careful how you live, not be perfect, not be flawless, not have everything figured out, but be careful, be intentional, be someone who is actually paying attention to how her days are being spent and what they are being spent toward, making the most of every opportunity." The original Greek word there is exagorazo. It means to redeem, to buy back, to make the most of. It carries the sense of someone who sees what is available and reaches for it purposefully, not frantically, not anxiously, but with the awareness that time is a resource that does not come back. And then the verse that follows it says, "Do not be foolish, but understand what the Lord's will is. Do not be foolish. Do not drift through the days God gave you without asking what they are for, without asking what He wants to build through the particular life He placed in your particular hands, without giving any real, sustained attention to the question of what it would look like to live this one life with intention and purpose and surrender to His design." I want to be gentle here, but I also want to be honest, because I think for some women, the drift is not really about personality. It is about avoidance. It is about the quiet comfort of staying in motion without direction, because direction requires commitment, and commitment requires courage, and courage requires the possibility of disappointment. And somewhere along the way, it became easier to just keep responding to whatever life threw at you than to actually decide what you were going to do with the life God gave you. Let me ask you something, and I want you to sit with it honestly before you answer it, even just to yourself. When was the last time you made a real decision about your life? Not a reaction, not an adjustment, not a response to something that happened to you, but a genuine, chosen, intentional decision about who you are becoming and what you are building with the days you have been given. If the answer is a long time ago, or I am not sure, or honestly I cannot remember, then this video is for you, not as a correction, as an invitation. Because I do not think God is looking at your drifting life with disappointment and distance. I think He is looking at it the way a good father looks at a daughter who has the capacity for so much more than she is currently stepping into, with patience, with love, and with a gentle persistence that keeps calling her forward into the woman He already sees when He looks at her. He sees her. He sees who you are becoming, and He is inviting you through this ordinary Tuesday or this quiet season or this Sunday evening ache to stop drifting and start deciding. Not dramatically, not all at once, but in the small, honest, daily way that intention actually works. Now let me tell you about a woman named Iris. Iris was 38. She was not a dramatic person. She did not have a crisis story with a clear before and after. She had just reached a point, quietly and without fanfare, where she decided she was done living accidentally. She had been a drifter most of her adult life, not in a reckless way, in a very quiet, very functional, very socially acceptable way. She showed up. She did what was needed. She was reliable and kind and generally pleasant. But she had never really decided anything. She had ended up in her career because it was available and she was qualified. She had ended up in her apartment because it was close to work and the lease was easy. She had ended up in her friendships because proximity had made them convenient. She had ended up in her church because someone invited her once and she never left. None of those things were bad, but none of them were chosen. And at 38, sitting in a season of unexpected quiet, after a relationship ended and a close friend moved across the country, she had space, for the first time in years, to notice that her life was mostly made up of things that had happened to her rather than things she had decided. And she did not want another decade to feel that way. So she started small. That is the part I want you to notice. She did not overhaul everything at once. She did not make grand declarations or purchase an expensive planner system or sign up for 4 different online courses in the same week. She did one thing. She started spending 30 minutes on Sunday evenings asking herself 3 questions. What did I do this week that actually mattered? What do I want to do differently next week? And Lord, what are you asking me to pay attention to right now? Just those 3 questions. Every Sunday, with her Bible open and her phone face down. And here is what happened slowly, over months, not overnight. Her days started to feel different, not because they looked radically different from the outside, but because she was inside them differently. She was making small, intentional choices throughout the week that were oriented towards something. She was saying no to certain things because she knew what she was trying to say yes to. She was showing up to her Bible not just when she felt like it, but because she had decided that her spiritual formation mattered and she was going to treat it like it did. She was not perfect at it. There were weeks she skipped the Sunday questions. There were mornings she did not open her Bible. There were seasons where everything she was trying to build felt like it was slipping again. But she kept coming back. She kept choosing. She kept returning to the posture of a woman who was trying to live on purpose rather than by accident. And 1 year later, her life was not unrecognizable, but she was different inside it. She had a sense of direction she had not had before. She had a growing relationship with God that felt like an actual relationship and not just a religious habit. She had a few friendships she had chosen intentionally rather than just maintained out of convenience. She was working on something creative that she had wanted to start for years and kept putting off. She had not arrived anywhere, but she was moving, and she knew why. That is what intention does. Not instantly, not dramatically, but faithfully and steadily over time, it begins to close the gap between the woman you are and the woman you know God made you to be. But let me say this clearly because I think it needs to be said. Intentional living is not the same as anxious striving. And I want to make sure that distinction lands, because some of you will take this message and turn it into another way of being hard on yourselves, another standard to fail at, another thing to be disciplined about that eventually becomes another source of shame when you fall short of it. That is not what I am inviting you into. Intentional living, the kind that is rooted in God, is not about building the perfect life. It is about being present in the actual life you have. It is about showing up to your days with some awareness of what they are for and who you are becoming inside of them. It is about being someone who is in conversation with God about her own life, rather than just reacting to whatever comes. It is not performing a perfectly structured existence. It is choosing, slowly and imperfectly and faithfully, to be someone who is actually awake to the life God gave her. And that starts much smaller than you think. Let me give you a few honest, practical things to begin with. And I mean begin, not complete, not master, just begin. Start with the question you have been avoiding. Not a goal, not a plan, just a question. Something like, Lord, what is it that I keep putting off that you keep returning to? Or, what part of my life do I already know is running on autopilot that deserves more of my actual attention? Sit with that question in prayer. Give it space. Do not rush to an answer, but do not keep avoiding it either. Choose one area of your life to be intentional about this week. Just one. Not your career and your health and your spiritual life and your finances all at once. 1. Maybe it is your morning. Maybe it is the way you spend the first 30 minutes after you get home. Maybe it is one relationship you have been meaning to invest in more deeply. Start there. Small and specific is more honest than large and vague. Stop letting the week happen to you on Sunday nights. Spend a few minutes before the week begins asking what kind of woman you want to be in the days ahead. Not what you want to accomplish, who you want to be, what you want to choose, what you want to move toward, and then go into the week with that settled in your spirit. Return to God quickly when you drift, because you will drift. Everyone does. The goal is not to never drift. The goal is to shorten the distance between the drift and the return. To build a life where God's voice is familiar enough that you recognize when you have wandered and you know how to find your way back. And stop waiting for perfect conditions to begin. The time is never going to be exactly right. The season is never going to be perfectly stable. You are never going to feel fully ready. The woman God is calling you to be is built in the imperfect conditions of your actual present life, not in the cleaner, calmer version you are waiting to arrive at before you start. The days are passing, not as a threat, just as a true and honest thing. And you get to decide, not once but every morning, what kind of woman shows up to them. I want to come back to Camille for a moment, because her story did not end with that phone call. After that conversation with her sister, Camille did not immediately transform into a different person. She went to bed that night and got up the next morning and went to work and came home and ate dinner. Life looked the same, but something had shifted underneath it. That quiet reckoning she had tried to avoid for years had finally been allowed to surface, and now that it was out, she could not put it back. She started praying differently. Not longer prayers necessarily, but more honest ones. Prayers that said, "Lord, I do not actually know what I am building with my days right now. Would you help me figure that out?" And she started listening differently after she prayed. Started noticing what kept returning to her attention. Started asking herself, when I imagine my life in 5 years, what do I hope is different? And what am I actually doing today that moves me toward that? She found some uncomfortable answers. She found that a lot of what she spent her time on was comfort seeking. Not sin, not anything dramatic, just the slow accumulation of low effort, low cost, low risk ways of passing time that felt okay in the moment, but added up to nothing. And she started, gradually and imperfectly, to make different choices, not because she had a perfect plan, but because she had decided that she was worth more than an accidentally lived life. 2 years later, she told a friend, "I am not where I thought I would be, but for the first time I actually know where I am going. And I know why, and that changes everything about how I get up in the morning." That is available to you. Not the tidy 5-year plan, not the perfectly structured life, but the feeling of actually being in your own life on purpose, of knowing what you are building and why, of having a sense, even in the ordinary and the imperfect days, that you are moving towards something real. You are not too late. You have not wasted too many years to begin now. The woman God is forming in you is not behind schedule. She is being formed in exactly the season you are in right now, in the ordinary days you are already living, if you will just decide to be awake inside of them. God does not want you to drift. He made you with purpose, gave you specific gifts and a specific life and a specific set of days, and He is inviting you to be a woman who lives those days with her eyes open and her heart surrendered and her feet actually moving in a direction. Not perfectly, but intentionally. Not flawlessly, but faithfully. Not with everything figured out, but with God at the center and a willingness to show up to your own life and stop letting it happen to you. That is the invitation. And it is for you, today, in this season, with the life you actually have. Let me pray for you. Father, I come to you on behalf of every woman watching this who has felt the quiet ache of a drifted life. The woman who has been busy but not purposeful, moving but not directed, showing up but not truly present to the life you gave her. Lord, I ask that you would meet her in this moment with the specific grace she needs to take one honest step toward the woman you made her to be. Forgive her for the years she spent waiting for conditions that were never going to be perfect, for the mornings she handed over to distraction when she meant to hand them to you, for the dreams she kept meaning to begin, and the intentions she kept meaning to follow through on. Lord, you are not a God of condemnation, and neither is this prayer. This is just an honest naming of what has been, as the beginning of choosing what comes next. Give her the courage to stop living accidentally. Give her the discernment to know what matters, and the discipline to orient her days around it. Give her a genuine, growing, daily relationship with you that is the root of every intentional choice she makes. Let her Sunday evenings become a place of honest reflection. Let her mornings become a place of genuine surrender. Let her small daily choices begin to add up to something she can look at and say, "This is a life I chose. This is a life I built with you." Remind her that she is not too late, that the years are not wasted, that you are a God who redeems time and restores what was lost and makes all things new, and that the most intentional thing she can do today is simply turn back toward you and say, "Lord, I am ready to stop drifting. Show me who you made me to be, and help me become her, one faithful day at a time." In Jesus' name, amen. If this video found you somewhere honest today, if something in it felt like the conversation you have been needing to have with yourself, drop the word intentional in the comments below. Let me know you were here. Let me know something shifted. And if you know a woman who needs permission to stop drifting and start choosing, share this with her today. You were made for more than an accidentally lived life, and it is not too late to begin. I love you. I will see you next time.